Hey, how's it going, everybody? Shaggy from the Order of Mithril here. We're going to do another random review today. This time it's about a pretty interesting title. This is called Carrion by Phobia Game Studio, and they're marketing it as a reverse horror game. And I've got to say, after my time with it, it is very interesting. I'm used to playing games where you're trying to kill the monster as opposed to being the monster. The basic premise of this game is that you are an interdimensional monster, and you are only focused on killing, surviving, and escaping. When you start the game out, you're going to be this little squid noodle thing right here that you see on the screen. Nothing really too over the top, but it gets pretty crazy. You're only going to start out with an echolocation ability and the use of a tentacle. Now, the echolocation allows you to find nearby save points, scare the heck out of scientists, taunt soldiers. That's really it. You can upgrade it later to help you find corpses that you can eat to replenish your health. The tentacle starts out pretty basic. You can use it to grab human beings, to eat them, throw them against the wall, rip them in half. It's also going to allow you to grab to switches that you can use to open doors. You can also... Some of the more fragile doors that are just basically metal grating, you can grab them and rip them off the hinges. Later on, you'll be able to find other abilities like splitting yourself into a big pile of worms while you're underwater, to bash through wooden doors, or to take control of a human being so as that you can get them to open switches on the other side of walls that you can't breach. Now, with the type of human beings that you're going to encounter in this game, you're going to have scientists that, like you see on screen right now, just try to run away from you. They're just trying to live, survive. You're going to find armed civilians that may attack you with pistols. And at first, they're a problem, but as you gain new abilities and gain a bigger life bar, they're not going to be too much of a threat. Now, the soldiers, on the other hand, they can be a big pain all of the time. So they start out with like these little shields that you cannot grab onto. You cannot bash against them. You have to go around them because the shields themselves actually deal damage to you. Now, you may see them with machine guns. Later on, they're going to get flamethrowers and things like that. They are going to upgrade their arsenal as you go through the game, providing more of a challenge. But beyond that, you're also going to see flying robots that have different types of weapons, and they're also switches in a sense, as you will have two of them spawn in. You have to kill both of them to open the door to where you're trying to go. You're also going to run into humans riding around in chain gun wielding mechs. So it's going to be a giant robot that you're going to have a little bit of a problem dealing with. Now, as you go through, each one of these types of enemies is going to have a strategy to them. So the mech, you're going to have to get rid of some of your biomass, which you're going to basically be getting rid of half your health bar to use an ability that you can only use whenever you're on the bottom portion of your health bar. And what that is it's like a spider web in a sense. And what you do is you hit the top of the mech and rip the top off with that spider web, and then you have to rip the human out. The flying robots, you basically just have to be able to maneuver around them, much like the regular soldiers with the shields. You have to maneuver around them to actually deal damage to them or get them to drop the shield. Now, I usually love games that look like this. They have that very retro feel to them. And I do love the way this game looks, but it's a love-hate relationship with this one. Again, I love the way it looks. It has that retro feel. But because of the color choices that were used, some of the environments can be kind of bland. Now, I don't mind having a dark, metallic, or rocky environment to have to explore through, but the way that it's put together is sometimes where you need to go blends into the environment just a little too well. So you may find yourself going through an area 2 or 3 times before you actually find the way to progress forward. For the gameplay elements of this, I like the way that you're trying to escape. You're the monster this time, and everybody's scared of you. I love that. One of the things that I found a little jarring at first, and it's not terrible, but the way the tentacle works just seems like it's in reverse. I mean, I play inverted control style, so that may be what it is. If you play up is up and down is down, maybe it's right where you need to be, but I found it a little bit off. But after maybe 20-30 minutes into the game, I felt myself getting a lot more comfortable with the way the controls work in this. Now, the abilities that you get are a little different. I feel like some of the timing is off on them, but that could also just be me. But overall, I feel like the controls, after you spend a little time with them, are very solid. Coming down to the difficulty of the game, barring the issues that I have with some of the environments being a little bland and it being a little difficult to navigate where you needed to go next, just pure difficulty of the game, I feel like the beginning is pretty spot on, and the middle is pretty good as well, and the end is a little different. Overall, I feel like the game is right where it needs to be, being the monster. You pretty much will fly through most of the enemies, but in some situations you are going to have to think about it and apply a strategy to what you're trying to achieve. I don't think it's overly hard, and I don't think it's too easy either. So I think it's right where it needs to be. I'm pretty sure that you can adjust the difficulty on it if you want a harder challenge for yourself, though. One of the things that did catch me by surprise when I was playing through this game is I was not expecting a narrative. And now, it's not overly thick with narrative. You're not going to be treated to a cutscene or a whole lot of story at each segment that you complete. And I'm not going to ruin it for you, but there are parts of the game where you go through and you have to relive these memories or scenes, and it's of a human being going through these catacombs looking for something. And that very much plays into what's going on while you're the monster. But again, I'm not going to ruin it for you, but I was surprised by it. Getting on to my rating of the game, I'm going to rate it as a wait to play. Not because I think it's an absolutely terrible title or that it could have had a lot more work done to it. I'm going to give it that because I feel like it is going to be for a very niche market, one, and two, because navigating through some of the areas was a little bit painstaking just because of how bland they were. It was hard to see the tunnel or the vent that you needed to take. Overall, though, I do like the retro look of it. I like the fact that it's a reverse horror because it's something new. I like the way that the audio sounds whenever guns are fired at you, whenever you kill people, whenever you activate an ability. The music is also very good. It's a very horror movie-esque soundtrack throughout the whole thing. So I think it's a decent game, but I would say that it would be one that you could put on the back burner and play at a later date and time. Well, that's going to be all for me today, guys. I appreciate y'all coming by and hanging out with us and taking a look at Carrion with me. Tell me what you think in the comments of Carrion and what other games you would like to see me review. But other than that, I hope you guys have a great one. See you later.